So let's solve the question number 2. Just a second. Yeah, which says that g dash x is equal to fx. Okay, so I am starting the solution. It is given that g dash x is equal to fx, right? So g dash x is equal to fx. Okay, and it is then we need to integrate this. So we need to integrate x cube f of x is whole square dx. So what I am going to do, I am going to put x square is equal to z. If I put x square equal to z, then it will become 2x dx is equal to dz, right? So I can write this integration as integration. I am putting x square is equal to z, and remaining x dx I am writing this 1 by 2 dz, and f of z dz. Okay, so now observe that g dash x is equal to fx, then f of z I can write this 1 by 2 integration z g dash z dz. Now I am going to use bypass to integrate this. So you actually can see that the options they are considering this x as second function. Okay, they are considering this x as first function. So I am going to integrate it. So integration z 1 by 2 integration g into integration of g dash z. So integration of g dash z must be gz. So that will be z into g of z minus integration. We need to differentiate z, that will be z, and integrate g dash z, so that will be g of z dz. Okay, plus some constant c, right students? So I can write this 1 upon 2 the value of z is equal to x square, so that will be x square g of x square minus integration g of x square. So the value of dz is 2x dx. So I am writing this 2x dx. Okay, so plus some constant c, so that will be 1 upon 2 x square g of x square minus integration. So these two out, so that will be integration x g of x square dx plus some constant c. So this is our answer. So you actually can see, okay, yeah, you actually can see 1 upon 2, this is our answer. So option B is our correct option. Okay students, so yeah, option B is our correct option. Okay, so we have solved the question number 2. Now let us solve the question number 3. Okay, so question number 3 is from linear algebra, and the question number says that the system of linear equation x plus y plus z is equal to 5, x plus y plus z is equal to 5, and 2x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 4 has the system is inconsistent, the system has unique solution, the system has infinitely many solutions, the system has no solution. So I am considering the augmented matrix M bar, that will be 1 1 1 5 2 2 3 4, and I am going to use elementary row operation to find out the row reduced equivalent matrix, so that I will get the rank of M bar. So what I am going to do, I am subtracting twice of first row from the second row. So first row remains as it is, so 1 1 1 5, and the second row will become, I am subtracting twice, so that will be 0, that will be 0, that will be 1, that will be minus 10. Okay, so you can see that rank of if the coefficient matrix be M, the rank of M is equal to 2, that is equal to rank of M bar, right students? So I can say that this system is consistent, or this must be consistent, and this is a system of linear equation where the number of equation is less than the number of variable, and the system is consistent, then it must have infinitely many solutions, right? So infinitely many solutions. So let us see the options. You can see that option C says that the system has infinitely many solutions, so option C is our correct option. Okay, so that's all about our question number 3. Now let us solve the question number 4. Question number 4 says that f such that R2R is a continuous function such that f of x, I am writing this f of x, f of x is equal to 2 minus root over of x plus 4 by sine 2x. This is our f of x where x not equal to 0, right students? So they are saying that this is our f of x. Now suppose f such that R2 be a continuous function, this is f of x where x not equal to 0, then we need to find out the value of f of 0. So we need to find out the value of f of 0. So what I am going to do now, as f is continuous, and you can see that we cannot put x equal to 0 in the denominator because it will, the denominator will become 0. So we are going the continuity fact of f. We know that f of 0, as f is continuous, so f of 0 is nothing but limit x tends to 0 f of x, right students? So that will be limit x tends to 0, so 2 minus root over of x plus 4 by sine 2x. Now if you put x equal to 0, then the numerator becomes 2 minus root over of 4, that is 2 minus 2, that will be 0, and the denominator becomes 0. So it is 0 by 0 form. I am using L'Hospital rules to find out the limit. So limit x tends to 0. If I differentiate the denominator with respect to x, that will become 2 cos 2x, and the numerator becomes, as there is a minus, so minus 1 by 2 root over of x plus 4. Now you actually can put the value, so that will be minus 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2, that will be minus 1 by 8. So the value of this limit is 1 by 8, and hence the value of f at x equal to 0 is minus 1 by 8. You can see that minus 1 by 8 is our option A. So option A is our correct option. So we have solved the question number 4. Let us solve the question number 5. So question number 5 says that A, B, C are in AP. So A, B, C are in AP, it does mean that I can write 2 times of B is equal to A plus C, right? So A, B, C are in AP means 2 times of B is equal to A plus C, okay? As A, B, C are in AP, and hence I can write 2B is equal to A plus C, and A square, B square, C square, and in GB I can write B square by A square is equal to C square by B square, and hence I can say B square B to the power 4 is equal to A square C square, and okay, I am keeping it. Now observe that A plus C is equal to 2B. So and A, B, C is equal to A plus B plus C is equal to 3 by 2. That would imply 2B plus B is equal to 3 by 2, and hence 3B is equal to 3 by 2, and the value of B is equal to 1 by 2. So we got the value of B. So 1 by 8 square, 1 by 16 is equal to A square C square, right? So we got the value of A is we got the value of A square C square is 1 by 16. Okay students, so and A plus C is equal to 1. Okay, now so from this what I am going to do, I am writing AC is equal to 1 by 4, right? So AC is equal to 1 by 4, and hence I can write A plus the value of C is 1 upon 4A is equal to 1. So 4A square plus 1 is equal to 4A. So 4A square minus 4A plus 1 is equal to 0. So this is nothing but 2A minus 1 is whole square is equal to 0. Hence A is equal to minus 1 by 2, right? So A is equal to minus 1 by 2. Sorry, A is 1 by 2. Okay, so it would imply A is equal to 1 by 3. Now we know that A plus C is equal to 1. It will imply C is equal to 1 by 2 again. So here A is equal to C, but you can see that it is given that A is strictly less than C. So we cannot take the value AC is equal to 1 by 4. So we cannot take the value AC is equal to, we know that AC is equal to plus minus 1 by 4, and therefore we cannot take the value AC is equal to 1 plus 1 by 4. Therefore we need to take AC is equal to minus 1 by 4. Now if I take AC is equal to minus 1 by 4, then this equation will become A minus 1 by 4A is equal to 1. So 4A square minus 4A minus 1, it would be 0. So the value of A is equal to minus 4 plus minus root over of B square. So 16 minus 4ac, so that would be 16 again, by 2 into 4, so that is equal to 4 plus minus root over of 16, 32 by 8. So 4 plus minus 4 root 2 by 8. So it would be 1 minus root 2 by 2 and 1 plus root 2 by 2, right? So I actually can write it 1 by 2 minus root 2 by 2, right? So it is, and 1 by 2 plus root 2 by 2. So 1 by 2 minus 1 by root 2, right? And 1 by 2 plus 1 by root 2. Now it is the bigger number, so this cannot be a. So then a is 1 by 2 minus 1 by root 2, right? You can see that 1 by 2 minus 1 by root 2 is our option D. So option D is our correct option. Okay, students. So we have solved the question number 5 also. Now let us solve the question number 6. Now question number 6 says that a is a number, the set of all a satisfying this inequality 1 by root a integration 1 to a 2 upon 3 upon 2 root x plus 1 minus 1 by root 2 dx is equal to. Now observe that so we need to find all the numbers a which is satisfying this inequality. So first of all, if you put a is equal to 1 in this inequation, so the left hand side will become 1 by 1 integration 1 to 1 something dx. Now is lower integral and upper integral is same, so this integration must be 0, which is less than 4. Then a is equal to 1 must satisfy in this equation. So I can say that this is a is equal to 1 satisfying this equation. So a is equal to 1 is one of the values of the a is equal to 1 is one of the values of the interval. So I can discard this option and this option. Okay, so I can easily discard these two options. Okay, now we need to check which of the remaining options is correct, of either option C or option D. So what I am going to do, I am going to put a is equal to 3 and see, then I will see that whether this a is equal to 3 satisfying this inequation. Then if a is equal to 3 satisfying this inequation, then that would be option D would be correct. If a is equal to 3 is not satisfying this inequation, then option C would be correct. So it's a simple process. So I am going to use a is equal to 3. I am going to put a equal to 3. If a is equal to 3, so it would become 1 by root over of 3 integration 1 to 3 by 2 root x plus 1 minus 1 by root x whole into dx. So I can write 1 by root 3. If I integrate this 3 by 2 into x to the power 1 by 2 plus 1 by 1 by 2 plus 1 plus x minus, so that is x to the power minus half, so that will become x to the power minus half plus 1 by minus half plus 1. The value starts from 1, lower limit is 1, upper limit is 3. So now 3, and this will equal to 3 by 3, so I am cancelling this 3 by 3, 1 by root 3 x to the power 3 by 2 plus x, and it would be minus half, plus half, so half it is minus 2 times of x to the power half, so that is root x. Okay, its lower limit 1, upper limit is 3. So 1 by root 3, if I am put x equal to 3, so it will become 3 root 3 plus 3 minus 2 root 3, and if I put x equal to 1, it will become 1 plus 1 minus 2. Okay, 1 plus 1 minus 2, so cancelling this, and you can see that 1 by root 3, it will be 3 root 3 minus 2 root 3, so that would be root 3 plus 3, so it will be root 3 plus 3 by root 3. Okay, so if I take root 3 common from the numerator, I will get 1 plus root 3 by root 3. So this is equal to 1 plus root 3. Now we know that root 3 is the value of root 3 is less than 2, greater than value of root 3 is less than 2, greater than 1. So 1 plus 1 less than 1 plus root 3 less than 2 plus 1. So 1 plus root 3 is less than is equal to less than 3, which is strictly less than 4, and hence I can say that a is equal to 3 also satisfying this inequation. So a is equal to 3 is the solution of this. So option D is our correct option. Okay, there are lots of ways you can actually integrate this and then find the values of a. That would be much more complicated. But if you are going to eliminate the options, that is more easier. So we have solved the question number 6. Now let us solve the question number 7. So question number 7 says that A be a 4 cross 4 matrix. Both A and adjoint A are non-null. I am repeating this. A and adjoint A is non-null. If date A is equal to 0, then rank of A. So date A is 0. Date A is 0 means rank of A is strictly less than 4. Okay. And it is given that A and adjoint A both non-null. So we know that we are going to use a fact. I have already proved that in previous videos regarding ISIM math, where I have proved that if rank of A is equal to n, then rank of adjoint A is equal to n. Okay, if rank of A is equal to n minus 1, then rank of adjoint A is 1, and if rank of A is strictly less or equal to n minus 2, then rank of adjoint A is equal to 0. Now rank of adjoint A is equal to 0 means adjoint A will become 0 matrix. Okay, now if rank of A is equal to n, then date of A not equal to 0. Okay, so as date of A is equal to 0, so this is not the possible cases. So there are only 2 remaining cases where rank of A is less or equal to n minus 2, that is 4 minus 2, that is rank of A is less or equal to 2 and rank of A is equal to 3. Now if rank of A is less or equal to 2, then adjoint A will become null matrix. As adjoint A is non-null matrix, then rank of A must be 3. So option C is our correct option. So it was an easy question. We have solved the question number 7. Now let us solve the question number 8. Question number 8 says that a person throws a pair of fair dice. Okay, if the sum of the numbers of the dice is a perfect square, then the probability of the number that 3 appear at least once in a dice. So if you are throwing 2 dice simultaneously, then the sum of the numbers starts from 2, then 3 and up to 12. So among these 11 numbers, there are 2 numbers which are perfect square. One is 4, other is 9. So how many ways you will get 4? You will get 4 if you get 3 1, 2 2 and 1 3. And you will get 9 if you get 6 3, 4 5, 5 4 and 3 6. Right? There are 4 ways you will get a number is a perfect square. So I am writing S denoting the event of getting perfect square. So probability of S is nothing but 7 upon 36, right? Now I am considering T is equal to getting a number is getting at least 3. Now we need to find, now we know that we need to find a number which is perfect square. So number must be a perfect square. Okay, among these we need to find of getting probability at least 1 3. So this is the required probability. So that would be probability of T intersection S by probability of S. So probability of T intersection S is you can see 1 2 3 4. So 4 by 7. So 4 by 7 is our answer. Let us see the options. You can see 4 by 7 is our option B. So option B is our correct option. So we have solved the question number 8. Now let us solve the question number 9. So students, let us solve the question number 9, which thus says that C0 be the set of all continuous function f such that 0 1 to r, and C1 be the set of all differentiable function g such that 0 1 to r, such that g dash is continuous. So it is given that f is equal to set of all C0 is the set of all continuous function from closed interval 0 1 to r, and C1 is the set of all differentiable functions such that whose first order derivative is continuous. So they are saying that f such that they define a map T such that C1 to C0 by T of G is equal to G dash. Then they are saying that T is 1 1 on 2, T is 1 1 but not on 2, T is on 2 but not 1 1, T is neither 1 1 not on 2. So we need to check which of the following option is correct. So for this, what I am going to do, I am considering now two functions f1x is equal to 1 for all x belongs to 0 1, and f2x is equal to 2 for all x belongs to 0, 1. So I can say f1 not equal to f2, but t of f1 is equal to 0 is equal to 0 is equal to t of f2. Then f is not 1, 1. So as f is not 1, 1, I can discard this option, and there is 2 remaining option. We need to check whether t is onto or not. So for this, what I am going to do, we need to check whether this function is onto or not. So for this, what I am going to do, I am taking a function from the right hand side, c0, that is, just a second. So I am constructing, I am taking g belongs to, okay, c0. So g is continuous. Okay, I am constructing a function fx is equal to integration 0 to x gt dt, right? So as g is continuous, I can say where x belongs to 0, 1, I can say this f is differentiable. F is differentiable. It is a well-known property of Riemann integration that if g is continuous, then f is differentiable. So as f is differentiable, now let us find the derivative of f. So f dash x is nothing but, we know that there is 2 limits, so we need to put, first we need to put x in place of t, so g of x, and need to differentiate x, so that would be 1 minus g of 0 into differentiation of 0, that would be 0, so g of x. So f dash x is equal to g of x. So f is continuous, f is differentiable, and if the derivative of f is g, which is continuous, so I can say that this f belongs to c1, and t of f means f dash x, f dash, that would be g, so this t is onto, so this t is onto but not 1, 1, so I can say option C is our correct option. Okay students, so it was a little tricky question, but you can solve it. Okay, so we have solved the question number 9. Let us solve the question number 10. Okay, so let us solve the question number 10, which says that S be the set of n elements, the number of ways in which n distinct non-empty subset x1, x2 dot dot xn can be chosen such that x1 is a subset of x2, subset of x3 dot dot subset of xn. Okay, first of all, observe that these all the sets are xn's are xn's are distinct. So if you choose x1, suppose the elements of S are 1, 2 up to n. Okay, and x1 contains 1. Then x2 is a superset of x1. x2 cannot be 1 as x2 is distinct from x1. So x2 is either 1, 2 or 1, 3, or that any set contains 1. Okay, but if x3 and x3 is a set contains 3 elements. So xn is a set will be contains n elements. Now suppose you are considering x2 is a set contains 3 elements, 1, 2, 3. If x2 is a set contains 3 elements, then what about x3? x3 is not equal to x2, and x3 must contains these 3 elements. So 1, 2, 3, and subset of these. So if we are processing this inductively, you cannot get xn as in some stage either xn minus 1 will be the set contains all the elements of it. Okay, so that's why x1 must contains first 1 element, x2 must contains 2 elements. In such a way, xn contains n elements. Now x1 contains 1 element, x2 contains 2 elements, x3 contains 3 elements, up to xn contains n elements. Now x1 contains 1 element. How many ways you can choose this 1 element? N ways. Okay. Now x2 contains 2 elements. Now among all the elements of x2, 1 element is fixed, the element of x1. So there are n minus 1 ways you actually can choose x2. So into n minus 1. Now x3 contains all the elements of x2. That is, suppose x1 is equal to 1. So x2 contains a set 1 with another element 2. Suppose x3 must contain 1, 2. So these 2 elements is fixed. You actually can vary the third element of x3. So there are n minus 2 ways. Okay. So in such a way, xn can be chosen in one way. So n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 to up to 1. So that is n factorial. So n factorial is our correct option. You can see that this is our option C. So option C is our correct option. Okay, we have solved the question number 10, students. Now let us solve the question number 11. So let's solve the question number 11, which says that fnx is equal to x to the power n cos 2n pi x, okay, where x belongs to minus 1 1. Now when x is equal to 1, then fn of x is equal to, the value of x is equal to 1, so that would be 1 to the power n is 1 and cos 2n pi. So cos 2n pi, so cos 2n pi, the value of 2n pi is always 1, so tends to 1 as n tends to infinity. Okay, so at x equal to 1 it is convergent. At x equal to minus 1, fn x becomes minus 1 to the power n cos minus 2n pi, so that would be again 1, so which is and this limit does not exist, right? You know that. Now when minus 1 less than x less than 1, fn x is equal to x to the power n cos 2n pi x. Now we know that if minus 1 less than x less than 1, or more precisely mod x less than 1, x to the power n tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. So this tends to 0 and cos x is bounded quantity, so this actually tends to 0. So its limit exists when on minus 1 1 minus 1 open 1 closed. Okay, so let us see the options. Okay, I actually have forgotten. So this is the options. Now you can see it. Now you can see the option D is says that minus 1 open 1 close. So option D is our correct option. Okay students, so we have solved the question number 11. Let us solve the question number 12. Now solve the question number 13, which says that a straight line passing through the intersection of this and this. Okay, a straight line passing through the intersection of this and this and makes equal intercept on same sign on the coordinate axis. Okay, so they are saying that if x and y both positive, then it something look like this. If this h, so that would be h0 and that would be 0 h, right? So I am considering the positive case. Okay, so the equation of a straight line whose intercept from is h0 and 0 h is nothing but x by h plus y by h is equal to 1, so that would be equal to x plus y is equal to h. Okay, now we need to find, now it is says that this straight line passing through the intersection of these two straight lines, so we need to solve these two equations. So 3x minus 4y, so 3x minus 4y, that is equal to minus 1. Okay, and 5x plus y is equal to 1, so multiplying that by 4, I will get 20x plus 4y is equal to 4. Multiplying both sides by 4, I will get that. Yeah, so cancelling this, so it is 23x is equal to 3 and the value of x is equal to 3 by 23. So we got the value of x. Now we need to find the value of y. Y is equal to 1 minus 1 minus 5x. So 5x. So that is equal to 1 minus 5. So 25 by 23. So 23 minus 15 minus 23 minus 15 by 23. So that would be 8 by 23. Okay, so the coordinate of y is 8 by 23. So I am going to put this. So 3 by 23 plus 8 by 23 is equal to h. So the value of h is equal to 11 by 23. So I am going to put all the values. So x plus y is equal to 11 by 23. So 23x plus 23y minus 11, that would be equal to 0. So 23x minus 20 plus 23y minus 11, you can see this is our option D. So option D is our correct option. Okay, so we have solved the question number 13. Let's solve the question number 14. Okay, let's solve the question number 15, where I need to find out the volume of this or area of this. So first of all, let me draw the axis. So let this be our axis. Okay, this point is 1 0, that is 1 1, and this is our 0 0. So we need to integrate this on this triangular region. So first of all, we know that the equation of this line is x equal to 1. The equation of this line is x is equal to y. Okay, so I need to integrate this. So I am going to integrate our integration d 2 by 1 plus x square dx dy. So first of all, observe that double integration. So limit of x is equal to the lower limit of x is equal to 0 and upper limit of x is equal to 1. So 0 to 1. 2 by 1 plus x square dx. Integration dy. So lower limit of y starts from this, so that would be 0, and upper limit of y is this line, so this is x. So integration x equal to 0 to 1, the integration of dy is y and x, so this is 2x by 1 plus x square dx. So if I put 1 plus x square is equal to z, so 2x dx is equal to dz. So changing the limit xz, the value of x is 0 implies z equal to 1, the value of x is 1, the value of z is 2. So integration 1 to 2 dz by z, so log z is lower limit is 1, upper limit is 2, so log 1 is 0, so log 2. Okay, so let's see the options. So log 2, you can see that this is our option D, so option D is our correct option. Okay students, so we have solved it. Now let's solve the question number 16. So here we need to find number of saddle points. Okay, so we know that saddle points are the points where the partial derivative vanishes. So let me write if xy is equal to 2x to the power 4 minus x square plus 3y square. So differentiating f partially with respect to x, that would be del f del x is equal to 8x cube minus 2x, and del f del y is equal to 6y. So yeah, just a second, let me see it again. 8x cube minus 2x. Okay students, so yeah, 8x cube minus 2x and 6y. So this equal to 0. Del f del y is equal to 0 where y equal to 0, and this equal to 0, so 4x cube minus x is equal to 0, right students? So from this I actually can say, if I take x common, so that would be 2x whole square minus 1 square, so is equal to 0, and this equation has 3 solutions. Okay, I am repeating this again, this equation has 3 solutions. Okay, and so it has 3 saddle points. So this function has 3 saddle points, so option D is our correct option. Okay, so we have solved the question number 16. Now let us solve the question number 17. So question number 17 says that A and B, B2 square matrix is such that the largest eigenvalue of AB minus BA is positive. So largest eigenvalue of AB minus BA is positive, right students? So from this what I can say, so then the smallest eigenvalue of A must be positive, must be negative, must be 0, none of this. So first of all, let me find out the trace of this matrix. So trace of AB minus BA. We know that trace of A plus B is nothing but trace A plus trace B, so that would be trace of AB minus trace of BA. We know that for any matrix BA, we know that trace of AB and trace of BA are same, so this is nothing but 0. So trace of this matrix is equal to 0, and hence I can say we know that trace of the matrix is the sum of the eigenvalues. Okay, now we already observed that one eigenvalue is positive, so let me consider n eigenvalues. Let lambda 1, lambda 2 dot dot lambda n be n eigenvalues. I am claiming that there must exist an eigenvalue lambda I such that lambda I less than 0. Okay, if for all I lambda I greater than equal to 0, then there exists at least one I for which lambda j is greater than 0. By the given condition it has one positive eigenvalue, then summation of lambda I must be greater than 0, but we know that the sum of the eigenvalues is equal to 0, so which is a contradiction, so it must have a non-negative eigenvalue. So if it has a non-negative eigenvalue, so there exists I such that lambda I less than 0, then the smaller eigenvalue or the smallest eigenvalue is less than lambda I, so that must be negative. So the smallest eigenvalue of this must be negative. So we have solved the question number 17. Now let us solve the question number 18.